Hi, everybody. Hello, Alex here. What we're going to talk about today is open-minded people. The success that you can have if you are open-minded. The things that can change your life if you are open-minded. Open-minded basically is relative to your perspective, which can come from your knowledge base and what you study and your preferences and your likes. Many people can describe the elephant in different ways, just depending on what they're touching. So I'm going to read you this article that I found, and this is about becoming awake, aware, but having an open mind, and how other people's perspectives and knowledge that they share with you can change your way of thinking. We are wise and intellectually aware in proportion to our open-mindedness. Think about a kid. According to the work of development psychologists, in the first few years of its life, it has a very loose concept of self and object. In plain English, such a child is extremely egocentric and can't imagine the world from someone else's point of view. With time and experience, however, as we all know, this begins to change. It learns to respond to its parents' cues and starts to acknowledge the existence of many unique personalities. With more time and experience, it completely sheds the illusion that it is the only thing that exists in this world. It becomes aware that whatever it identifies as self actually isn't the only self that interacts with reality. The details of how this occurs are hazy, but a big part of that, with time, there's just more information that has been consumed and filtered to help the person make sense of its interactions with the world. As a result, it starts to see its surroundings in a way that is more conducive to its survival. As adults, most of us have a very defined sense of self. We are also very aware of other people and ourselves and their selves. That said, in the same way, a young child often struggles to see the world as anything other than what it directly knows. We similarly get stuck in our own ways and refuse to look at things from a different angle, even if that angle may be better for us. In today's world, the lack of open-mindedness is maybe one of those core issues leading the way for many of the surface level problems we face. It seems that we are so set in existing ways that the idea of learning from new, conflicting information has become as terrifying to us as many real physical threats. Our identities have found their place and they don't care to update. Regardless of any personal opinion, that's undoubtedly a problem, no? The value of peripheral awareness. In The Mind Illuminated, I don't like to use that I word, a science-based book on meditation, the authors present a simple model of consciousness that I think is relevant here. They compare our conscious experience to that of a vision, where each moment has a focal point, yes, but also a peripheral range that appears subtly in the background. For consciousness, the distinction is between attention, which is what focuses us, and peripheral awareness, which keeps us alert. Anytime you experience something, you have a point of focus, something that absorbs your mental energy. If you're cooking, for example, this will be cutting vegetables. That said, you also know this is your awareness and that the dog is running around behind you and that the TV is on downstairs. If we stretch this model a little further, we can see how it explains the difference that open-minded people possess that doesn't seem to come as easily to those who are not yet where they want to be in this regard. Whenever we talk about something dear to us, our focus of attention is not only on the topic, but it is also on whatever our opinion espouses. We see the whole topic through the pre-existing lens we have attached to our identity, which makes it hard for anything new to penetrate our belief. What open-minded people are able to do, however, is that they can refocus in and out of the thing dictating their attention at any given point, and as a result, they're able to let the peripheral awareness capture whatever lesson a new conflicting thing may or may not contain. The lens of our attention is always going to distort information to fit into it as it likes rather than doing the hard job of incorporating the new after it causes a disturbance. That's why even smart people can hear a valid contradictory opinion and still shrug it off like it doesn't mean a thing. The key to an open mind lies in being able to attend to a topic at hand without using that same attention to closely tie in a current belief system in such a way that it forgets the existence of a world beyond what it already knows. Let me interject here, folks. That's the problem. Let's say if you find something, you go to share it with people, they're not willing to even open their mind to hear a contradictory argument and accept that they don't agree with it, just to hear you out. And people have forgotten that ability. Anyway, back to the article. It's always in the peripheral awareness that you will find information that's going to challenge you and make you better off in the long term. The only way to capture it is to know when to zoom out of the wrong kind of attention. A better response to a threat. One of the evolutionary purposes of our peripheral vision, and by extension our peripheral awareness, is to register any incoming threats or surprises. It's not very active most of the time, but when it does fire up, it's in response to something subtle that nudged it. It gives us a clue that something in our environment isn't as it should be, meaning that attention is needed elsewhere. We all have had these moments. They're practically everyday occurrences. You're sitting in the park and suddenly in the corner of your eye you see a football driving towards you, causing you to immediately duck, or you happen to be dozing off in class or at work, and a quick glance at the clock surprises you enough that your entire attention then shifts. It's not only that, though. What about when someone insults you, or when someone says something that you aggressively disagree with? It's the same thing, the same sudden emotions arising unexpectedly. It's your mind telling you that you're being threatened. It's not physical, of course, but your sense of self, your ego, is being attacked, which, as far as your evolutionary instincts are concerned, is basically the same thing. Most people use these threats and surprises unproductively. At best, they let them cause anger. At worst, they plot for ways to get back at the person. An open-minded person, however, would use something like that. She would take note of every time she felt surprised or threatened in this way, and she would think it over at a later time, in which she had calmed down, to dissect if there was any information that may be valuable. If your identity is threatened, or your sense of self is surprised by a fact or an opinion, the chances are there's conflicting information in there somewhere that contradicts how you currently see the world. And the solution isn't to ignore and suppress it. It's to use it to update your mind. Every surprise, every threat, and every shock is an information point. And the only way to extract that information is to take note and then to pay attention. The takeaway? Anytime you have experienced a paradigm shift in your thinking, it has been because your mind has been opened up to a whole new realm of existence. The level of open-mindedness you show in your day to life informs the amount of learning available to you for the future, which in turn is what stops you from living with a faulty and problematic way of seeing reality. Put more bluntly, as Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius did in his Meditations, quote, "If someone is able to show me what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed. It is the person who continues in his self-deception and ignorance who is harmed," close quote. If you carefully observe the most debates and arguments, you will realize that many people seem to fundamentally want the same thing. The problem is usually that they just refuse to take into account the other's point of view. The world would be a better place if more of us learned to harness the power of peripheral awareness, and it'd move faster if we dissected the right signals. Our minds are continually evolving, and like the development of a child, they can't do so unless they feed on and filter for the available information. There is great possibility in what you don't know, but you have to look for it. All right, that's the message for today, folks. Thank you for coming to Plain Mundane Show. Please hit like, subscribe, check out some of my other videos. I will start uploading a lot more and going over a lot of topic videos like this. I've got about 15 lined up in my windows right now. I'm going to start recording. Have a good day.